Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. A national shortage of nurses made worse by the pandemic has opened the door for a booming travel nurse industry.
I enjoy getting to meet new people. I get to experience a new area that I've not been in.
A big perk is travel nurses can make 2 to 3 times more than a staff nurse, but that's taxing hospitals' budgets. Bloomington Mayor Joh Hamilton announced this week he will not be seeking a third term in office next year.
Well, I'm so excited about where Bloomington is. We've raised the bar. We're ready to move forward well into the future.
Ahead, we talk with the mayor about his accomplishments and what he'd still like to get done. And the Bartholomew County Public Library is responding to residents' concerns about what material is available in the teen section. We'll have these stories plus the latest news from across the state right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, cold weather is settling in over the state, and that means a return of cold and flu season. This year has seen a higher than normal cases of respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, in children across Indiana and the nation. According to an Indiana Hospital Association news release, at the beginning of November, 70% of pediatric beds in the state's 5 biggest children's hospitals were occupied. The surge in RSV cases typically peak in the late fall and winter. We're joined now by Jennifer Coddington, a clinical professor in the Purdue University School of Nursing, for more about RSV and what parents should watch for in their children. Professor, welcome so much to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So the number of children treated for RSV this year has been higher than last. Why do you think that is?
RSV definitely has come earlier this year for us, and it's hit us much harder than it has in years past. Typically, RSV peaks in the winter season, so we're usually looking at like January, February for it to peak. But it's really not known, I think, why it has surged or come earlier this year. The thought is that the virus is encountering a hugely vulnerable population right now of infants and children who are not protected against those common pathogens because they have not been exposed to them during the pandemic and the lockdown, and their immune systems are just not working against these common pathogens right now.
So how severe can it be? What should parents be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so RSV can be severe in certain populations. So those populations, those high-risk populations, would include premature infants, babies with congenital heart disease or with chronic lung disease, and then also some older adults as well. So parents really should be looking for if their child is sick, if that cough is getting worse, if they're wheezing and that's getting worse, if they have what we call retractions. So that's where those muscles in between the rib cage are really pulling. If all of those things are occurring, or they're getting blue around the mouth or blue around the lips, then they really should seek emergency care if any of those symptoms occur.
Now, how about the best defense against the virus?
Yeah, so best defense, as we all know, is prevention. So prevention includes that hand washing under soap and water and doing it very often, cleaning surfaces that we use often, cleaning those often. Avoiding that close contact with those high-risk populations. So those little babies that we love, they're very cute, we want to kiss, really trying just not to do that. There's also a drug that we use called Synagis that helps prevent severe disease. But this can only be used in certain populations that I just talked about, those high-risk populations in infants and children under 2 that are premature babies, have chronic lung disease, have congenital heart disease. If they meet that certain criteria, we can also give them that medication to help prevent that severe disease.
There any concern about cases trending back up with the holidays coming up, more people gathering indoors?
Yeah, of course. I think we're going to all be around our friends. We're going to all be around groups of people, family. So, as I mentioned, it's going to be really important to do those prevention techniques of hand washing and cleaning surfaces. And, if you're sick, staying home, making sure that you're masking up, and of course, avoiding those close contacts if you are feeling sick.
All right, Professor, thank you very much for being on the show. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
The travel nurse industry skyrocketed in 2020 as hospitals struggled with staffing shortages. Those concerns are taking a financial toll on hospital budgets and forcing them to take a deeper look at employee benefits. Holden Absher has this story.
Travel nurses fill temporary openings in hospitals around the country. They often sign contracts for 13 weeks at a time, and then they move on to experience a new city. But for Enid Bedford from Memphis, it means being closer to family. Her youngest son plays football at IU, and he tore his ACL in the first game of the season. So she started looking for contracts in Bloomington.
I wasn't here to intrude on his life as a 21-year-old college student, but to help him transition with his injury. And now that he's doing so well, I'll finish my assignment and then I'll be on my way.
Bedford became a nurse when she was 50 years old. During COVID, she started traveling for better pay and a better schedule.
I typically work, maybe a 13 or 26-week assignment, and then I can go home for 2 months and be able to sit down and relax and spend time with my husband or family.
Patrick Smith is also a nurse completing a contract at IU Health Bloomington. He spent 2 years as a staff nurse in his hometown of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, prior to traveling. Bloomington is his third stop, and given where he's from, he's no stranger to college towns.
I enjoy getting to meet new people. I get to experience a new area that I've not been in. And it's just it's not like, oh, I visited this place. I actually got to live there for a couple months.
Smith says that some people become travel nurses for the flexibility, and some do it to improve finances. For example, a Chicago-based medical consulting firm found that the average travel nurse makes $132 per hour, which is more than double the 2019 average of $64. Over that same period, staff nurse salaries only increased from $35 to $39 per hour. Yet some people have learned how to get the benefits of being a travel nurse without ever actually having to go far from home. They're known as local travelers, and they tend to take contracts in hospitals within 90 minutes of where they're from.
As a kid, I would play with baby dolls and be the doctor or the nurse, so I always knew that was my route.
However, Hillis didn't know that traveling would be her life. She says the financial and scheduling benefits were just too good to refuse, especially since she's in school to become a nurse practitioner. She's completed contracts in Fort Wayne and Bloomington, and now she works in her hometown of Greenwood. While in Bloomington, Hillis worked for IU Health as it transitioned to its new location.
We were very heavily staffed with travelers, and then when we moved to the new hospital, they kind of were trying to get back to where it was just the staff nursing and kind of weed out the travelers, so they did a major pay cut by about $2,000 a week.
Hillis says the cut in future contracts meant it was time to move on. And her next contract was with St. Francis in Greenwood, which she says is currently offering staff nurses triple bonuses to compete with traveler pay.
Hospitals are trying to basically reward the staff just so that they don't have to use travelers, but it still seems to happen.
The Indiana Hospital Association found since 2021, nearly 70% of Hoosier hospitals increased travel nurse expenses by more than 20%. However, hospitals don't directly pay those travel nurses. Instead, they enter in contracts with these agencies, and prices can change based on demand. One nursing leader says these agencies sometimes walk away with double or triple what the actual nurses make, and that's causing the industry to take a deeper look at the value of these contracts.
I just want to stress, we're not evaluating the actual nurses' pay. It is the agency's pay, because that is more of the financial burden that we're seeing in organizations.
Despite weekly pay for travelers dropping since the height of the pandemic, Culpepper says hospitals are still in a market war with staff agencies, and it's forcing them to reconsider benefits. Some hospitals are looking at improving employee culture, increased paid time off, or even changing standard shift hours.
We've been doing 12-hour shifts for a long time, and we're hearing from our team members that might not be what they want any longer.
Culpepper says that nursing leaders hope to use the current market dynamics to create a revolutionized care model and improve job satisfaction. Those type of changes just take time. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Holden Apsher.
Now, IU Health declined multiple interview requests for this story. However, it said as of October 31st, its Bloomington hospital was staffed by 18% travel nurses. Well, we're joined now by Callie Lichter for headlines from around the state. Hi, Callie.
Hi, Joe. MCCSC will buy the Herald-Times building on South Walnut Street for $2.9 million. The property is near the MCCSC Administrative Building, Technology Center, Transportation Lot, and Bloomington High School South. Eventually, the three-story limestone building will become a family welcome center, community meeting, and building services space. The Herald-Times had occupied the 68,000 square foot site since 1961. And discussions about what books are appropriate for teenagers have made their way into Bartholomew County Library Board meetings in the last few months. Ben Taboutier has this report.
Library Director Jason Hatton says people first started to voice concerns about teen section materials at a board meeting in April, and attendance has increased since. In response, the Library Board set up a committee to review other Indiana public library practices. Next, they'll examine how materials are categorized and the diversity of its collection.
Look at, is it Christian, non-Christian, LGBTQ, not LGBTQ, right? So many different patterns, and looking at to make sure that we really have a balanced collection.
During Public Comment Monday, some attendees voiced concern over materials in the teen section that address sexuality and relationships.
Some of the material prominently displayed could be the gateway into pornography, as well as other unhealthy life choices.
Others expressed concerns that materials in the adult section that address sex are easily accessible to teens and children. But Felipe Martinez worries this approach will lead to censorship and goes against a library's mission.
The public library is the public square, where we all get to reflect, regardless of status or education or background or history, where we can find books that reflect who we are and books which can stretch what we may grow into.
Hatton said Monday that he'd reviewed several petitions to remove materials from the teen section, denying all but one, which he granted because that book's content was outdated. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Ben Taboutier.
The library says it plans to review the diversity of its collection and how books are categorized. Bloomington attorney Carl Lamb vented about his recent election loss during a Veterans Day event at Edgewood High School last Friday. Lamb was invited to speak at the event as a Marine Corps veteran, but also spoke about losing his bid to become a Monroe County judge.
The one thing that really bothered me this past Tuesday, other than losing, of course, for the second time, mind you, I ran in 2020 with President Trump on the top of the ticket, and hopefully we'll get our country back in the direction it needs to go soon.
Some students expressed their discomfort about the speech being political, and there was a lot of backlash on social media. When reached for comment later, Lamb said his speech was meant to describe his life experience as a former veteran.
The response by some people has been just unbelievable. And they say not to be political, but their responses have been incredibly political. It never was my intent to be political in what I was doing in that presentation.
Richland Bean Blossom Community School Corporation Superintendent Jerry Sanders sent a letter to parents that said, in part, "We are deeply saddened by the behavior of our guest speaker and apologize to anyone upset by his speech." And after more than a year, the Johnson's Creamery apartment project is clear to move forward now that Bloomington City Council vacated a public alley.
We think that public right-of-way is valuable. However, in this case, it is an alley stub that will never go anywhere.
Developers are proposing to relocate the alley directly south. The Board of Public Works plans to vote to adopt the relocated alley Tuesday. If the board rejects it, Mayor Joh Hamilton has up to 10 days to veto council's decision on the original alley. Indiana has suspended a man's hunting license for life for the first time in state history. 25-year-old Hanson Pusey from West Lafayette was charged with hunting wild turkeys illegally in Indiana and 6 other states. The DNR found more than 80 spent shotgun casings that Pusey identified using for turkey hunting in multiple states over the past decade. That includes at least 4 wild turkeys from Indiana, twice the legal limit in a year.
When you see a person that has this total disregard for those laws and no respect for the wildlife and the natural resources, at some point you've got to take a stand against that.
Wild turkeys almost vanished from the U.S. in the 1940s due to unregulated hunting and habitat loss. Community experts came together Tuesday to discuss the need for Monroe County Jail expansion and how to connect those released from incarceration to community resources. Monroe County Sheriff-elect Ruben Marte says that his time working at Rikers Island Jail Complex in New York City showed him that community resources are crucial.
Bloomington has a lot of good programs, but it's how to get them all together to get that person before they leave to the right resources.
So, Joe, community members say more must be done to keep people from going to jail in the first place by connecting them to needed resources.
Callie, thank you very much. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. 4 Indianapolis high school teachers created an award-winning game they hope will inspire their students. And we talk with Bloomington Mayor Joh Hamilton, who announced this week he will not seek a 3rd term in office. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Public television's mission is to create a more informed and engaged public with inspiring programs, compelling stories, and trustworthy news. And we can't do it without a team of professional journalists, media specialists, engineers, and administrators making it happen both on the air and behind the scenes. Want to work for WTIU? Find the latest job postings on our website. Details at WTIU.org/jobs.
Life is full of choices, and right now your favorite member benefit, Passport, is offering more choices for you to stream.
Welcome to the club.
It's a beautiful thing. With cooking.
I gotta let it cook, but I keep wanting to smell it.
Travel.
And here we are.
Oh, yeah!
Documentaries.
I realized I could change the world.
And so much more. The choice is yours with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Bloomington Mayor Joh Hamilton announced Thursday he would not run for a 3rd term next year. Hamilton took office in 2016, then won re-election in 2020 with 84% of the vote. He has overseen a new hospital, growth of the B line, the installation of citywide broadband, a new UDO, and the city has increased annual funding through local taxes. Welcome, Mr. Mayor, to the show. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks so much, Joe. Nice to be with you.
So let's just get down to it. Why the decision not to run for a 3rd term?
Well, Joe, it's often a variety of things, but maybe one way I try to talk about it is that I never really ran to be a mayor. I ran to do things as mayor, and I feel very good about what I've been able to do with so many partners. Of course, it takes a whole bunch of people to make a city move forward, but I'm really proud of where Bloomington is and what we've been doing. And after 8 years, I kind of just decided, you know, it's a good time to turn the page for me. And frankly, the city's in really good shape to move forward. And so it felt right. It's a whole mix of a lot of things, but don't need to hold on to an office just because you can. Get done what you wanted to do and can do, and then turn the page.
You have just a little more than a year left as mayor. Do you think you can get these deals done? The convention center and jail, 2 big things you've been working on.
Well, there's a lot on the table still, absolutely. And I was talking to some other mayors, and you never leave with an empty inbox. There's always projects to do whenever you leave. Certainly, I hope to move forward with the convention center. I think that's good for the community. The whole community criminal justice reform is very important, absolutely, as well as all the work we're doing on climate change and, getting the community development investing and housing momentum and jobs momentum. All those things are important, but whenever you leave, you will leave with a lot of things that you've accomplished. I'll feel that way, but also there's a whole bunch more to be done.
Couple things most proud of during these last 7 years, I should say.
Well, there's a lot. When I ran, I really wanted to try to address jobs and the economy. I'm really proud that our wages have gone up a lot. We're one of the few counties with $1,000 a week average wage. That's moved our whole community into a higher position. $3.5 billion of investment I'm very proud of. I'm also really proud that our whole community has come together with 1,100 units of affordable housing. That's a 20-fold increase in pace of affordable housing production, 20-fold in the last few years. That's a really big deal. You mentioned in the intro the digital infrastructure, how important that is. It's a game changer. The Switchyard Park, the Hopewell, the Trades District, the Mill, also the public safety. We're the only city in Indiana with the top-ranked fire department and a nationally accredited police. So I don't want to just tick off so many, but I'm really proud of the progress. I feel like we've raised the bar for our community to move forward.
One thing that's still up in the air in the courts is annexation. Is that something you think will get tied up in this next year?
Well, I don't know if the lawsuits will be done. Of course, I regret that we're in lawsuits about it. We shouldn't be there. We're only there because the state legislature violated our Indiana Constitution by sticking their nose in our local business and passing a special purpose law that they're not allowed to do. So that's unfortunate. I do regret that. I think annexation is important. Orderly, regular annexations and getting the lawsuits done will be key. I hope they're done in the next 13 months so we can move ahead and keep growing. A lively, vital, growing city needs to adjust its boundaries. And I tried to do that, and we have to let the courts settle it out.
What do you know about Bloomington now that you didn't when you took office?
Well, that's interesting, Joe. That's a good question. There's a lot of little things I've learned, but maybe as you ask it that way, what I might know, I know change is hard. I think I knew that. But I also know now how much capacity there is for Bloomington to continue to excel. When I meet with mayors from around the country, there are great cities all through this country. We're a special, beautiful place. We are not unique. And I know how many people in Bloomington want to see it continue to thrive and evolve and change, even though that's not always easy.
All right, Mayor, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
On the season finale of PBS show Make 48, Indianapolis teachers worked on a new prototype of their national competition winning game that brought home $10,000 and the Kids' Choice Award. Sarah Molina has this report.
The game, called Don't Wet Your Pants, features water pipes leading to a nozzle and cup on your opponent's side. The objective is to fill their cup and wet their pants as it tips. The 4 teachers from Purdue Polytechnic High School are known as the Mallorys.
We went in there with nothing pre-planned, no prior knowledge. It was all just totally based on, what they give us when we get there, and we had 48 hours to go from nothing to a product that is now patent pending and in the hands of one of the largest toy manufacturers in the world to see if they want to buy it.
The Mallorys also includes game designer Andy Mendel, school nurse Amanda Bowling, and head coach Drew Gooden. As a robotics, engineering, and physics teacher, Mendel hopes kids learn from the game.
There's a lot of logical thinking, and then there's also some strategy and planning and reacting to your opponent.
Teaching at a diverse inner-city school near the east side of Indianapolis, the team also hopes the game inspires their students to believe in themselves. Officially known as the Mallory Design Group, the team used the majority of the money awarded to develop the newest prototype of Don't Wet Your Pants. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Sarah Molina.
The game patent is pending to be developed by Spin Master, a multinational toy and entertainment company based in Canada. The Indiana Farm Bureau's annual survey shows Thanksgiving dinner prices are nearly 14% higher than in 2021. Hoosiers are spending an average of $61 for a Thanksgiving dinner for 10. The total market basket price for the dinner includes a 16-pound turkey, sweet potatoes, stuffing, pie supplies, and various other baking items. A food pantry based in Ellettsville will have its plate full when it comes time to distribute meals for Thanksgiving. Pantry 279 had to close its donation list early at 2,500 families this year in order to meet demand. That's about 22,000 people who will be receiving food from the organization in the next few days.
But this year, 2022 has blown 2020 out of the water, straight across the board with the pantry numbers. I knew it was going to be bad.
Regular distribution at Pantry 279 happens Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, and is always open to cash and food donations as well as volunteers. And Indiana head coach Tom Allen hasn't said who will start at quarterback at Michigan State this weekend, be it Connor Bazelak or Dexter Williams behind center. The Hoosiers will be looking to snap a 7-game losing streak.
Bottom line is that whoever's out there is going to lead our offense and help us drive down the field, score points, and win this game.
After this weekend's game, the Hoosiers wrap up the season when they play host to Purdue in the Old Oaken Bucket game on November 25th. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. We won't have a show next week, but we'll be back on December 2nd. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.